Your thoughts are not you. Have you ever heard that before? I didn't for a very long time. I had attached who I was to my thoughts. And hey, Rene Descartes, one of the philosophers I learned from high school, said, I think, therefore I am. And that, in its own right, is a shame because that isn't true. I think, therefore I have a brain. It's not actually who I am. It is your mind's job. It is your brain's job to think. The brain thinks involuntarily, like the heart beats involuntarily. But it does not come from the place of you. It is not your soul that stimulates most of these thoughts, especially obsessive thoughts. So what is an obsessive thought? An obsessive thought is something that we think about constantly, something that is disruptive to your life, something that will cause you these low-level states, this anxiety and depression, these things that will bring you to thinking about things that might not even happen, especially when it comes to the future. Have you ever thought about one thing that was going to happen? Maybe it was a conversation. And during this conversation, you had so many different things ways and things you were going to say and ways that you thought it was going to go. And then you get to that conversation and it's none of it. And all that worry and that anxiety was technically for nothing. Even more so, it probably inhibited you from speaking from the heart during the moment of the conversation. So this is what happens. Our thoughts continually run, and they're not actually you. You are the person, the I. Oh, let's take a second. Let's take a second to define the I. Have you ever said, I should have known better? I should have known that was going to happen. Well, really, at face value, how could you have? Typically, it's going to be something that you've never experienced before, that you've never actually had the solution for, that you never dealt with before. So why do we say I should have known? The I right here is you, and it's also your intuition. It's your inner voice. It's that little voice inside of you that is your guide to life. And what I've found is this guide is streamlining you straight to something that you don't understand yet, but typically happiness and fulfillment is at the end of that line. But when we deviate from that line, when we can't control our impulses and our thoughts and it deviates us away and there's a gap, that is the space in which anxiety and depression start to manifest. So, defining the I, the intuition, the inner voice, who you are, your soul is talking to you. And what happens here is when we have thoughts, again, your brain is just a physical object and it thinks things based off of a lot of different stuff. It can react to an experience. It can then think forwardly about what's going to happen. But all these things technically are not true. And it's your job as you, the person that is not the brain, the soul, the person that sits inside of you that wants so badly to be seen. It is your job to sit there and discern how you would like to think. Because guess what? Once you understand that you control your thought process, you are now at a baseline of creation. Wow, right? I don't actually, if I'm thinking that I'm unworthy, or I think that I'm not enough, or I think that I can't do something because I don't know how to do it. This is all your brain just telling you to live inside of a zone called the comfort zone. And anytime you want to become uncomfortable, that brain is going to tell you you can't, to keep you back into your comfort zone. And inside of your comfort zone is pain. And that is the place where we don't want to live, because being uncomfortable is growing. Struggling is growing, and thus struggling is attached to happiness. Because if you're growing towards something of happiness and fulfillment. It's going to be a struggle to get there, but the fulfillment is knowing that you've made it through the struggle. So what else can we call the I? We can call it the observer. The observer. So somebody that just sits back, it's a being, it's you, a being that sits back and observes your thought processes and decides which one you're going to attach to based off of your intuitive feeling. So if you have a thought like, I'm going to be the president of the United States, and that's truly what your soul wants to be, you can attach yourself to it, start thinking that, start saying that, and then your body is going to start doing the things to make that happen. But let's say you're saying, I'm not worthy enough to be the president of the United States. Then guess what? You're going to embody that belief, and then you're not going to do anything about it because you've already written off that that's not what you're going to do. But maybe truly that's what you want. And now you sit in this anxiety of, I'm never going to be the person that I'm supposed to be, or depressed because you're not enough to be that person. So, President might be a good analogy for you, and I hope that you can take president, plug it out, and whatever it is that you want to be, and understand that once you control your thought process and you understand that you have the power to do so, then you can start to create the thought process that you would like to project into your reality and start to manifest the future that you have for your life.